And we're back. Hello, hello, hello. We have Frank and Adel here with us. Adel here with us. So welcome, welcome. Before we could start about the things we're going to be talking about today, please do introduce yourselves. Frank, where do you join us from? What do you do? And well, why should we care?
Well, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Frank McQuillan. I am joining you from the Bay Area. I would love to be at reInvent, but in the Bay Area, happy to be joining virtually. And I am a product manager on the CloudWatch team and pleased to be working with Adele. Adele, who are you?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for having me today. My name is Adele Alu. I am an engineer working on the CloudWatch team. I'm based out of the Bay Area. I am lucky enough to be here in Las Vegas during reInvent.
Ooh.
So I'm happy to join you all.
Thank you, thank you. A lot of folks here are joining us from their hotel rooms, but we have Frank joining us from home. So very good, very good. So tell us, what are we launching today? What are we talking about today?
Well, today we are talking about Amazon CloudWatch Evidently, which is a new feature of CloudWatch's digital experience monitoring capability. Just launched today, generally available. It's out there right now as we speak.
Awesome. What kind of problems does Evidently solve?
Well, it's designed to help application developers validate new features before release. So it addresses questions like, is this feature better? How can I roll out this feature carefully? So Evidently allows for experimentation on new features, and it provides quantitative insights based on those experiments with easy to understand results. And it also allows for launching features in a controlled manner. So launching features in a safer manner, during which time you can monitor metrics and only dial up traffic when it is safe to do so.
Awesome. And so my understanding is that it kind of monitors for these like features you've launched. And what does it actually monitor? Does it look like metrics, telemetry? What does it do? What does it actually monitor?
Well, it can monitor both business and performance kinds of metrics. So in the area of business metrics, this could be anything that you care about with respect to your application, right?
Okay.
It could be checkouts, it could be revenue, it could be click-through rate. Whatever's important for your business and however that's manifested in the interaction of your customers with your application. And the other important side is performance.
Right.
Because we want to make sure that our customers can build applications that are performant and they can monitor those during experiments and launches. So we just heard a session on CloudWatch RUM for real user metrics. You can actually use RUM metrics directly within Evidently in your launches and experiments.
Awesome. No, I always thought like when you deploy your code is not just, is it performing good? Is it is the CPU utilization, memory utilization, this or that? It's also, is it actually doing something? So Evidently can actually help you. Does your code change perform? Does it still work, right? Is there a checkout issue with people and all those things? So wonderful. And how did customers do this before Evidently was a thing?
Well, there are a variety of ways that customers kind of handle this problem. One is to do code deployments for every feature. So every time you have a new feature, deploy your code to production after your usual kind of dev test cycle. Customers could also use configuration files, which kind of gets you partway there. And as well as having a variety of inbuilt methods, that they've generated within their organization that they use in order to do this feature release cycle. But I think the key thing is that without automation and without capability like Evidently, it means less frequent releases. It means a slower feature development cycle that is not moving at the speed of business. And it also means less experimentation because experimentation is hard to set up and run and interpret.
All right, and let's talk about the type of applications that Evidently can help with. Evidently, so
Okay.
you touched upon a few of them. Can we talk about
Yes,
that maybe?
sure. I would say a wide range of features, both large and small. For example, it could be a new user experience, right? Let's say that you're an e-commerce enterprise and you have something as small as a checkout button. What does that checkout button look like? What size is it? What color is it? Is your if you have a new checkout flow that is more streamlined? That's one example. So new user experiences. Another one is in the area of machine learning. So this is not training the machine learning models,
Right.
but once you have a trained machine learning model, so that you've built in SageMaker, how does it compare? How does one model compare with the other, for example, in the area of recommendations for new products for your customers? And then a third category would be on server-side implementation. So let's say that you want to add a caching layer in front of your database for accelerated performance, right? That's a new feature, a new server-side feature you want to roll out. You may want to do experiments with that and controlled launch.
There's a question here from Randall coming in. So regarding SageMaker and Evidently, can personalize and Evidently be used together in this case? Like personalize as a feature, as a service?
Right. So that's a great question. Actually, one of the folks within Personalize is actually in the process of developing a reference architecture, which shows how you can use Personalize and Evidently together. So, as usual, we're always interested in new integrations between different services within AWS. And this is an excellent one because Personalize is a great venue for testing to see how effective your personalization methods are.
And you mentioned experimentation. So how do experimentations in this case work? Right, experimenting is very important when it comes to deploying software. You want to make sure that you can try out things, and maybe those things are going to bring you a lot of good things. So how would it work in this case when we use Evidently?
Yeah, right. So that's a key point, Darko, is that you may have a great idea for a feature. May know your customer base very well. There's really no guarantee. So testing is really key. So, like for example, we work with customers who have a culture of experimentation that do literally hundreds of experiments per year. So the way that it works within Evidently is that it allows you to do experimentation without having statistical knowledge. So experiments are very easy to set up. They're very easy to run. And the results themselves are presented in a clear way. So if you're doing an experiment between this feature and this other potential treatment that you're interested in, it will say, this feature is better.
Right.
This feature is not better, or perhaps there's no statistical difference between these features.
Okay, I think this all sounds amazing. A lot of things are going on here. I would love that Adele here shows us this entire thing. I understand that Adele is going to try to demo us this entire new feature, and we will definitely have questions as we go along. Adele has potentially a spotty internet connections. Thank you, hotel rooms, but we'll try to go through it. So Adele, if you can just go ahead and just click the share your screen thing here, and we should bring it up. So,
yeah, and in the meanwhile, folks, if you have any questions, put them in chat. We'll try and get to as many as we can.
Yeah, we love the questions. While Adele is doing this, maybe Frank can address the question we have here from Randall. How does this compare / contrast overlap with AWS AppConfig feature flags? Is AppConfig more a backend focused? While Evidently is more front end focused. I love the name, by the way.
All right, that's a good question. So the way to look at it is that AppConfig is config focused, but you can also do feature flags within AppConfig.
Okay. Yes.
However, if you actually want to do more around the area of monitoring metrics when you're doing launches, if you're interested in integration with real user metrics like the CloudWatch RUM, and if you're interested in, say, experimentation, running A/B experiments, then that's where you can go to Evidently, right? So AppConfig is a great product focused on configurations and feature flags.
Yeah.
Evidently then sort of does additional work, has additional capability in the area of experimentation and launch control with metrics monitoring.
Excellent. Thank you. Adele, we have you back here. So I'm going to bring up your screen on screen right now. Tell us what you're going to show us and, well, show us.
Great. So today we're going to go through a quick demo application. I'm going to start with an overview of the application we're working with today. Then I'm going to hop right into the CloudWatch console and go introduce the Evidently Cloud console. And we're going to instrument a new feature in about the next, hopefully 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
So on screen, I have a bookstore running on AWS, which is something we're very familiar. And it's the homepage, and a homepage is very important for any web application, right? Setting it up with the right assets, messaging, and navigation help your customers find products, faster, easier, and keeps them more engaged. So our goal is to look at this application and identify the opportunities to power features with Evidently. On first look, a few things come to mind. So you can see we have highlighted categories here, which is something you would want to power with Evidently because it would allow you to test and change it during different holidays. Another thing you might want to power with Evidently is your search product search model. Frank mentioned it earlier that it would be great to use Evidently to switch between different models. Say that you have a stable product search model and you have a couple of candidates. You can use a combination of Sagemaker and Evidently here to switch between the models and find out which one performs better and get those insights into your business metrics and performance metrics that Evidently can track.
Okay.
The feature we're going to be focusing on today is a promotion banner. We're going to add a promotion banner to this homepage at the top. And a promotion banner is great because it's something you can't measure the performance of without being in production. That's the only way you're going to know how your customers engage with it.
Yeah.
So we're going to hop over to the CloudWatch console. You'll find Evidently on the left side of the CloudWatch console under application monitoring, right next to the new service CloudWatch From, which I think you just did a feature on.
Yeah, we just seen it. Yeah.
And the first thing you'll see are projects, and projects are basically a container for different for the rest of Evidently resources.
Okay.
And they're going to be related to one of your applications. When you click into a project, you'll be greeted with a list of 3 more types of resources: features, launches, and experiments. In our bookstore, you can kind of see that we already have a few features working. We have the highlighted categories that I mentioned. We have the product search model that I mentioned as well as a recommendations feature. Our goal is to add the promo banner feature, but real quick, I want to start with the end goal by visiting an already completed experiment that we have for highlighted categories. So our goal is to find out how different promo banners perform, and this is what we're aiming for. So here you can see, give it a moment here, that we have a experiment here about highlighted categories at the start of summer 2021, and you'll instantly be greeted by a set of graphs. In Evidently, you can track multiple metrics, and the types of metrics you can track are not limited. So here we have one on revenue, one on user activity. And so what you'll see when you're using Evidently is you'll get to see that performance of the different variations broken up over time. And so here you can see that in this highlighted categories experiment, we were testing 2 different types of categories. At the top of our bookstore, you'll see here we were testing a top selling categories versus the summer activities categories. So seeing whether your top selling of all time versus your seasonal will outperform. Which one will perform better. And you can kind of see that very consistently, top selling is doing well. But going beyond average values, you'll get additional insights here. including statistical significance as well as our confidence here. So here you'll see the bounds of, you'll see a few different insights that you get in addition to regular CloudWatch metrics, including improvement, confidence intervals, as well as statistical significance. Now, if you're not familiar with a lot of these terms, there's always info tabs on the side to help you figure out what that means. And we also, as Frank mentioned earlier, will label each result with just a clear term, whether, according to very standard practice, whether it's worse, better performing, et cetera. So here we can see that summer activities did not outperform our top selling category, and that was statistically significant. And we can see this pretty clearly from this trend here, where we do see that top selling and did trend towards our summer activities over time, but it really summer activities never really had an impact on revenue.
Right.
So that's our goal today. So we're going to head back to our project, and we're going to get started with adding a feature. And so the feature we're going to be adding today is a promotional banner.
Okay.
And so this promotional banner, when you create a feature in Evidently, you represent them with a value. And since we're doing a promotional banner, we're going to use images because we can just plug in image URLs and get it to render on our website pretty quickly. So I'm going to add a default variation just for having no banner, no promotions going at all. I'm going to add another one. We're going to do like a 20% off one.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to also add another one that's like buy one, get one.
Okay. So we're doing different kind of things here we're going to be using, right?
Correct. And I'm just going to grab these URLs very quickly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're creating these different variations, and we're going to test against all three of those once we do the experiment, right?
Correct. We're gonna throw these in the experiment. So as you create a feature, you'll get a snippet here on how to set up that feature inside your code. So Evidently does two parts. It helps you take the decision logic out of your application, and will help you decide which variation of your feature is active to serve per user.
Okay.
As well as doing the recording the performance that Frank mentioned earlier.
Okay, good. Okay.
You can see how to instrument it here in JavaScript, and you can see a sample result here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see that it'll return a string value here. If I switch the default here, you'll see that it'll be returning that specific URL.
Which languages do you support? That's going to be the first question here. Java. Okay.
We support C++,
mm-hmm.
C#, .NET. There are a list, JavaScript, Java here. On the sample codes, we do have Java and JavaScript ready for customers to copy and paste into their application.
Awesome.
So I'm going to go ahead and create this feature. I'll go back to the bookstore. You'll see that there's no banner yet. Just an FYI, since I didn't want to show me logging in and out, I have a little override here that helps me switch between accounts, so I can show you that different things are happening. So I can see here that there is nothing. There's still no promo banner. I'm going to act as a developer right now.
Okay.
And I'm going to go and let myself see one of the variations. So if I go into the feature, I can add what's called an override. And this is really helpful for your developers to put something into production and see how it works in production, just to do a kind of quick sanity check themselves. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this feature. And then we're going to hop over to the bookstore. We're going to reload. And you can see that right away, I get the new variation. I see now that I have a promo banner. I can see that there's a buy one, get one. I'm just going to hop back in here, do another edit, and switch to the other variation to see the 20% off variation. Again, I hop over here, reload. I see that I made a mistake here, and I put a 10% off variation. So I'm just going to hop back into the feature, really quickly fix that mistake before we start our experiment. Copy this one.
There you go. Now, once this is done, all this data feeds back into CloudWatch, right? And we're able to see this information on that kind of an experiment dashboard, right?
Correct. So that dashboard that we saw is also, that data is also available in CloudWatch metrics so that you can create alarms. And so here we'll see, we'll see that the 20% off is done correctly. And you can also, we can do a quick validation here that there aren't any other users who can see that promo banner.
Correct. It's only for you because you set up that identifier. So this only applies to a specific user in this case.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
So now that we have our feature up and running, we can hop over to create that experiment. So our goal is to get an experiment running for the promotional banner that's similar to the highlighted categories. We'll create an experiment real quick.
And it's wonderful that you can actually get all these metrics, run all these experiments, because, well, we live in a data-driven world right now.
Indeed.
That was awesome.
So let's have a look how you can actually create this experiment, and we're going to have to wrap up this entire thing. So creating the experiment right now, and okay, got it.
Great. Yeah, so we get through here. We go through the audience. We want to include just these two variations. We're going to split the traffic equally between the two. And here is the power of Evidently, is that you can define any type of metric that you want. Let's say that I'm doing revenue. When you send events to Evidently, you're able to set a few key parameters that allow you to filter for any type of metric. So if you see here, if you're familiar with Event Bridge, you'll notice that this is the Event Bridge syntax. We add the revenue metric here, and we go ahead and create our experiment.
Okay, it's creating the experiment right now.
It's creating,
and once this is done, it's going to create the exact same dashboard as we've seen before on the one that works, right?
Correct. So all we do now is we just start this experiment.
Right.
And so as your customer starts to, we set an end time for the experiment, and when we, as a customer visits our website, we'll get the same dashboard that we saw in the other experiment.
Wonderful. And this experiment, in a sense, it will actually distribute this load between two different variations, and we can see which one works better. So experimentation is actually key to making your product better, right? So you need to try things, you need to play with things, break things, but very importantly, when you experiment, you actually need to see what's happening, right? And evidently helps you do that. So thank you, Adele. Thank you, Frank and Adele. Thank you very much for showing us Evidently, which evidently has the best name. So I'm sorry.
I bet that's not the last time you're going to make that joke.
Yeah, I know. Evidently has the best name here. So thank you to whoever who made up that name. So wonderful. So I think
we'll pass that thanks along.
Yeah, I think this is a wonderful launch, especially for developers and folks trying to make their things so much better. So excellent. With that being said, we are going to jump to a very loud music segment right now, I guess, which Sohan and I are going to play something. So Frank, Adele, thank you very much once again.
Thank you.
Thank you.